Hi class. So this is a brochure that I was working on last year and it actually already went to print, and now in hindsight I'm looking at it and I realize there's a lot of errors actually, and this is I made obviously before I started teaching this class, and so I would definitely use a master page this time. As you can see in my master pages panel, there's nothing here. Um, let's see, normal. Yeah, I didn't do anything on the master pages because I didn't think there were any repeating elements that needed to appear on every page. There were only 2 pages, first of all, so it didn't need page numbers. It's it's a trifold brochure, 8.5 by 11, with quarter of an inch, no, an eighth of an inch bleed, as you can see here. And then I noticed that there's a lot of things there were a lot of issues with it because things are not lined up. Because this is going to be folded, they need to be really well centered individually. And I couldn't center them on the page. I had to kind of divide the page into 3, and I eyeballed it, and it's not exact. And for me, that's not very professional. I was in a rush and I didn't think that I would need master pages, but now after reading the text, I'm thinking, okay, I should have just set up master pages and put guides to where the folds were going to go. So that would help me to center all the items within each panel, because as you can see here, this is actually, even though it's 2 pages, double-sided, they're really, after they're folded, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. And so it's important that things line up centered in each of the 6 pages. And one way to do that is to draw out guides. See, if I draw out guides about where the folds are going to go so that I can center each item in the center there. And I did not do that, like I was saying. So I want to go ahead and redo this, and I'm going to show you the process. So I'm just going to start from scratch with a new document. And before I do that, I want to make sure that my folders are set up right, because I want to show you guys that folders need to be correct too. Let's see, where did this go? I think it was under my documents. See, Jeremy's trifold. There it is. Okay. So basically, I put everything that had to do with it in here, but it's kind of crazy. The InDesign document's right here, but all the images are in the same folder, and I actually have 2 documents. So this is not actually how I would set up my folders. Again, a little mistake here. You want to have everything organized so that all the images are together with the images and all the text is with the text. And in this instance, it's crazy. So I think what I'm going to do is create another folder. So file, new folder, and then title this one images. And this is how I want you guys to do this for your own project, is set up a separate folder. And what I'm going to do is take all the JPGs that are in here, including the PSDs, because I have some Photoshop files, and just move them to images. Move them all to images so that it's just more organized. Okay. I also have quite a few PDFs that I exported just to send them to him, because he doesn't have InDesign, so he needed them in a file that he could read in Adobe Reader. And I'm going to show you guys later how to do that, how to save your InDesign file as a Adobe readable file, so that when you open it, it opens Adobe Reader and you don't need Photoshop to view the document. You can also send it to the printer and they'll print it as is. Okay, but for now, what I'm gonna end up doing is redoing one of these. So, oh yes, and because I moved my images, watch this. If I pull up my old document, because the files were linked, now you can see that I have a bunch of question marks all over the place because every image now has to be relinked because it doesn't know where it is. Because these images, this is what I was trying to explain earlier in class, is that images and documents that are placed in InDesign, when you go File, Place, they don't actually exist in the InDesign file. They're just linked. And when you go to print the document, it has to go back and pull the information from the image itself or the Photoshop document. And the beauty of that is that the InDesign file is not very large. So if you're scrolling through a massive InDesign file with like hundreds and hundreds of pages, it's not going to take 5 minutes to load all the images in the book, you know, for every page. It would take forever to scroll if you were trying to get to page 99, if you had to wait for the computer to load every single image. So when they're placed, you can just browse really quickly because it's not loading the images. It's just kind of showing you a little pixelated version of what it remembers that image has. Only problem is if you have missing links, then when you go to print, like right now, if I were to go and press File, Print, and I hope I don't lose you guys because it's very important, but it's kind of complicated to remember, is that these images, they're not going to show up very well. Okay, they look all right now, but when they get printed, they're going to turn out really pixelated because it can't find the original image, and so it'll just have to do it from memory, and it's usually going to be a very bad quality version. So when I go to print, the text and everything will be clear because this text is embedded. I've copied and pasted it into here. I didn't actually place it from a Word doc. This text actually exists in the Photoshop document itself. But the images are just placed. So the way to remedy that is to go to your links file and let's see, go to links and then where's links? Okay, there's a lot of question marks because I moved all the images. So they all need to be relinked. So I'm going to highlight all of them by holding Shift and clicking on the first and last one. And then there's a little button that says relink. It's like a little chain link. And I've got to relink, I think, all of them. Okay, whoops, no, it'll only let me do one at a time. Search for missing links in this folder. Okay. Relink. It's loading. Hopefully it does all of them at once. Search this relink directly and found and relinked 22 missing links. Okay, because I highlighted all of them, then I could relink everything. So I just had to go to the new folder that I put in it, and now it's relinked. So now there's no more question marks. That is such a crucial step. If you have missing links, you're going to wonder why your images don't look good. And it's not because you didn't take them in high resolution. It's because they got unlinked somehow from the Photoshop document or the InDesign file document. So it's very important to make sure that there's no question marks, no errors, no that the status is good. These are all okay. The status tells you if there's an exclamation point in your links panel, it means that something's missing. There's a link missing. So now all of these are relinked. And what I'm going to do now is just go and create a document from scratch because I want to start all over again so that everything's aligned properly. And I'm going to do that by just going File, New, Document. And it's going to be a 2-page, just the same as before. And I'm taking off facing pages because I want them individual. I don't need, this is not like there's not going to be any spreads. And then letter size is good. And then the bleeds are going to be, okay, margins. I'm not sure how big I should make the margins yet. I'll leave it at the default and change it later. 1/8 of an inch is, let's see, 1.125, and I want it to apply to all. So I hit tab as long as the chain is linked, and then hit OK. Oh, and the gutter. I can change the number of columns here, but I'm not sure how many columns I'm going to want yet. I want 3, but I don't know what the gutter will be. That's the hard part. Unless I make it the same as the margins here. So if I go 3 columns and then I go 2.5 like so, let's see what happens. Oops, my orientation was wrong. Okay, let me go back. Throw that one away. File, new document. Okay, I need to make sure it's on landscape. And then again, 2 pages facing. Columns are 3. Gutter is going to be 0.5. Everything's 0.5. This is going to be 0.125. Tab. Okay. All right, so this is more what I wanted. So now the margins are all equal here, and I'm going to save this in the same folder as Jeremy and call it Jeremy's Trifold Redone. Jeremy's Trifold Redone. And again, find where that thing is, because it must always go in the same folder. I can't just save it here. It really needs to stay together with all the images. So it was under documents, and then Jeremy's Trifold, and then save it outside of the image folder so that it's not too crazy. The InDesign documents stay with the InDesign documents. The JPEGs are easy to find. That's how Terry Ryberg sets up all her documents, and it's very easy to find things. Very organized. It's a very good habit. Even if you have such a small document, such as like a 2-page brochure, it's just very. It's a good rule of thumb. So now, what I want to do is in my Masterpages, I want to first draw some guides about where the fold is going to be, because I know that the fold is going to, if this is a trifold, then it's going to be folded right, let's see, this is 8.5 by 11, so 11 divided by 3, let me just pull up my calculator, 11 divided by 3 divided by 3 equals 3.66, okay. So if I draw a guide on here at 3.6, I'm going to write 3.6666. Okay, so actually the fold is going to go right there. So my gutters are kind of in the wrong place. So I want to move them after the fact. And then the second one should be, so 3.66 plus or times 2. Let me grab my calculator again. Times 2. This is where my tiny bit of math comes in handy. 7.33. So the next guide should be at 7.33. I hope you guys are following me. All right, and then, so that's actually where the fold is going to be. If this 11.5 by 17 was folded perfectly so that each of the panels, the 3 pages, would be evenly spaced, that's actually where it's going to go. And so now that means I want to actually move my gutters so that they are centered around these here. And so what I'm going to do is go, I think there's a way to move the gutters. I remember we talked about this. Let me see if I can figure that out. I'll pause for a sec. So yes, I want to just move these to the gutters so that it's centered around where I know the fold is going to be on these guides that I drew, because it's exactly like 1/3 of the page. So in order to do that, like I can't move them unless I unlock them. So that's under view, and then grids and guides. It has to do with guides, and then unlock. Let's see. So right now, lock column guides is checked by default, because naturally you don't want to accidentally select it if you have it perfectly. So unlock that just to move it. And I'm going to move the gutter. And I think in this circumstance, it's okay to eyeball it as long as it looks decent. So now I'm going to align all my objects to this, and my gutter is the same as my margin. So everything should be evenly spaced on each page when it's folded, not counting this bleed, which will be cropped off. And so this is what I want. And now this will appear on every page. So on all my pages, it should be there. They all look exactly the same. You can hardly tell that I'm on a different page. And this is what I should have done with my document over here, because things are not aligned perfectly at all. It's actually kind of embarrassing, but I'm going to use my mistake as an example of why it's important to set up your master. And like I said, I didn't think that doing a 2-page brochure would need a master page at all. I just thought, you know, that master pages are for putting page numbers on, or like a color bar, for example. Let me show you what that looks like. In case you ever need to do it, a color block would be just like a block of color. This is like what it sounds. So for example, if I wanted a yellow bar on top of every page, it would show up on every page. What? I don't know why it's not here. Oh, there it is. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit. Oh, I didn't put it on my master. That's why. I put it on page 1. So if I copy and cut that out, put it on my master, then it should appear on every page. Oh yeah, you can already see that preview. It's appearing on every page. So sometimes you might want some sort of graphic element to appear on every single page, and this would be the fastest way to do it. Whoops. I don't know what I just did. Okay, oh yes. So here it is on the master. And so when I'm on page 1 and page 2, I actually can't grab it, because it's kind of like embedded, it's behind. I only make the edits to master page elements on the master page. And there is a way to unlock it so that you can pull something off a particular page that's on it, that's from the master, and just for that one page you can make the change. You can do that by pressing Command Shift and clicking, and then you can delete it from that one page. So I just deleted it on page 1. And it's still on page 2. But that might be TMI. I don't know. I think for now, what you're really going to need is just to set up your document the way that you want the folds, because I think that's extremely helpful to get all your items centered properly. So now I can go about and place everything. And so that's what I would use the master for your final project specifically. And if you ever wanted to do a page number, let me just show you how that's done. So you know, but it's not necessary for this project. So if you want to do a page number, you can type, actually you just draw a text box where you're going to want your page numbers. So I'm going to want it maybe like right here is where it often goes. And if it's on that side, it'll be centered to the right, aligned to the right, and then you just right click or control click to get your context menu and do insert special character marker. It's a marker of the page. So, and then you can choose, there's like, you can do current page number, next page number, previous page number. Okay, section marker. So current page number would be the one you want, and it shows up like an A on your master. But if you look on your other pages, it's going to say 1 on page 1 and 2 on page 2. It's really hard to see. Let me get closer. There we go. See? And then on the master, if I double click on the master, it's A. So that's how you do a page number. Really simple. And it's all default. So like if I go to page 2 and then I click on create new page, it's going to automatically create page 3 with page 3 on, with the number 3 on it. It's one of those automated things that it just knows what to do. So anyway, that's pretty much all you need to know for your final project regarding Masterpages. And then the next video, I'm going to go over object styles.